There are 10 games in Sony Santa Monica's God of War series, and today we're going to be ranking all of them from worst to best from S to F. So without wasting any more of your time, let's get straight into the ranking. Now, coming up first, we have God of War 1, and I'm just gonna say this right now, God of War 1 is a great game. God of War 1 establishes the foundations for this series, and my goodness did they knock it out of the park. Because every single moment, every single level in this game is just so iconic and badass. The Blades of Chaos in this game are some of the most addictive weapons in gaming. The bosses such as the Hydra, the Pandora's Guardian, and Ares are some of the best bosses in this entire series. Man, I genuinely think God of War 1 has one of the best soundtracks in gaming, because they perfectly nail the atmosphere, the tone. I think this game is incredibly immersive because of the soundtrack. Honestly, this game was an absolute treat and I had a fucking blast playing through it. I even thought the story in this game was so incredibly captivating and so immersive to go through. Like, dude, I genuinely think this game is the perfect starting point for Kratos' journey. The only thing about God of War 1 I still don't like are the puzzles, because the puzzles in this game are just obnoxious to go through. Every single puzzle in this game pissed me off to a level where I just wanted to throw my DualSense out the fucking window. However, despite that one tiny nitpick, I still think God of War 1 has aged beautifully. So for all of those reasons, I'm going to put God of War 1 in the amazing tier. Now, coming up next, we have one of the best, if not the best sequels ever made. Dude, God of War 2 to me is like the Dark Knight to Batman Begins. This game is such a masterpiece from start to finish. God of War 2 somehow improves on every single area of the first game. For example, there's like triple or even quadruple the bosses in this game. There's double the weapons, double the enemy variety. The game is longer with better pacing, and there's none of those obnoxious puzzles. Even Kratos as a character has been further expanded on. The soundtrack is filled with even more countless bangers, and I have no fucking idea how they managed to accomplish that. This game is everything a sequel should be. It's ambitious, it's proud of itself, it doesn't want to copy the original, it wants to give you a new complete experience. Like, dude, before I move on, I have to talk about the bosses in God of War 2. There are so many good bosses in this game. We have Perseus, we have Thaddeus, we have Icarus, we have the Kraken, we have the last Spartan, we have Zeus, the Sisters of Fate. Dude, there are so many iconic bosses in this game, and I love all of them. God of War 2 is like Doom Eternal to Doom 2016. It somehow improves on a literal masterpiece. So for all of those reasons, I'm going to put God of War 2 in the ultimate tier. Now, coming up next, we have God of War Chains of Olympus. Now, God of War Chains of Olympus is really important to me because this game strangely got me through high school. During high school, I'm not gonna lie, dude, I was a fucking loser. I sat by myself all the time, I barely had any friends. Because I was pretty fucking autistic in high school, I'm not gonna lie. People really didn't like me. So during my break times when no one wanted to be my friend, I had a PS Vita, and I played God of War Chains of Olympus on my PS Vita constantly. And let me tell you right now, man, that even today, God of War Chains of Olympus is a great God of War game. This game has great weapons, great boss fights, a fantastic story with some incredibly character-defining moments. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when Kratos abandons Calliope at the end, I genuinely cried. That was an incredibly emotional moment, and I'm really glad I got to see it. My only real complaint with God of War Chains of Olympus is that it's obviously held back by the hardware limitations. Because this game is on the PS Vita, it doesn't really get that chance to shine, but even then, they still did an incredible job, and I still can't fucking believe they managed to get this game on the PSP in the first place. So for all of those reasons, I'm going to put Chains of Olympus in Epic. Okay, dude, I'm gonna make this one really brief, because God of War Betrayal is one of the worst games I've ever played. And let me just tell you right now that this game is a piece of shit. It's a game that has literally no reason to exist. It's so fucking bad that you can't even play it the way it's intended to be played anymore. There's virtually nothing good about God of War Betrayal. The entire game is just really shitty from start to finish. The gameplay is trash, the audio design is some of the worst mixing I've ever heard in a video game. And the story is so non-existent that there's honestly not even a point of having one in the first place. God of War Betrayal is one of the worst games I've ever played in a popular series, and for all of those reasons, this piece of garbage is going to go in trash. Now, coming up next, we have God of War 3. And I already know what you're thinking. How do they somehow improve on God of War 2, which is arguably one of the best sequels ever made? Well, they kind of don't. Sony Santa Monica knew that they couldn't improve on God of War 2, and trying to even match that masterpiece was just a huge mistake. So instead of improving on it, they just take God of War 2's gameplay and make it even more epic. For example, in this game, you encounter so many fucking awesome boss fights. This game is filled with countless amazing fights, dude. Like, you literally fight the entire Greek pantheon in this game. And every single one of these fights are drenched in spectacle, drenched in cinematic aura, dude. Kratos in this game is a monster. He is a beacon of fury, an argent of vengeance that kills every single one of these gods in some of the most goriest Mortal Kombat-ass ways imaginable. Like, dude, Kratos in this game is a fucking menace, and I love that. I love the fact they didn't hold back. I fucking adore the passion they had in delivering some of the most satisfying executions ever. And bro, before we move on, we have to talk about the final fight in this game. The final boss with Zeus is one of my favorite fights ever. I think this is one of the best, most epic, most spectacle-induced fights ever brought to my screen, and man, did I love every single second of it. This game gives you everything you come to this series for. If you want to kill really cool gods in the most brutal way imaginable, it does that perfectly. If you want to fuck really hot women, you can do that as well. Seriously, those button prompts for some of the sex scenes in this game are just way too sus, dude. Like, what the fuck is Kratos doing to these women? Honestly, that concludes my thoughts for God of War 3. I think this game is a masterpiece. So, for all of those reasons, I'm going to put God of War 3 in the ultimate tier. Now, coming up next, we have God of War Ghost of Sparta. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't really have a lot to say when it comes to Ghost of Sparta. It's one of those games I've never really truly liked. There's something about this game that feels very formulaic, very generic, and honestly not really up to the standard as the other God of War games. For example, I think the story in this game is very forgettable, very lackluster. It doesn't really live up to any of the other campaigns, in my opinion. The gameplay in Ghost of Sparta is actually quite good. You get a lot of different weapons and a lot of different equipment, which does make it stand out from the others. But then again, the game just has so many wasted opportunities. For example, Kratos' brother Deimos is one of the biggest missed opportunities in this entire series. The fact that we spend the entire game trying to get to Deimos only for him to die like 10 minutes after we see him, it was just really disappointing. And while yes, the boss fight against him was good, and it was pretty fun to fight alongside him against Thanatos in the game's final boss, it's just a damn fucking shame he didn't play more of a bigger role in the game's narrative. So for all of those reasons, I'm going to put Ghost of Sparta in mid. Now, coming up next, we have what many call the worst God of War game, which is God of War Ascension. And I'm going to be completely honest, no, I don't think this is the worst game in this series, obviously fucking not. However, I still don't think it's very good. God of War Ascension really suffers from a lot of issues. It has really subpar gameplay, it has a very forgettable story. The villains in this game aren't particularly memorable or menacing, they're just kind of lame and whatever. And while yes, this game does have pretty good spectacle and decent boss fights, it just doesn't really nail the landing on anything it tries to do. Now, to be fair, the visuals in God of War Ascension are really good. I feel the graphics and the gore in this game is such a step forward from any of the other entries in this series. However, the gameplay is nowhere near as engaging or fun when compared to virtually any other God of War game. So, for all of those reasons, I'm going to put God of War Ascension in disappointing. Now, coming up next, we have one of the greatest reboots ever made. Because God of War 2018 is basically a masterpiece from start to finish. This game, in my personal opinion, has zero problems. Every single thing about this game is peak. The gameplay is satisfying, it's crunchy, it's endlessly addictive, and I had so much fun playing through this. The pacing in God of War 2018 is damn near perfection. There isn't a single moment in this game's story that even remotely drags. The entire game is engaging and captivating from start to finish. I absolutely adore every single character in this game. Even the villains in this game are incredible, with Baldur being one of the greatest antagonists in this series. And something else I really appreciate about God of War 2018 specifically is how well it establishes its lore and universe. Because of a character like Mimir, we get so much insight into this world and to these characters. This is easily the best story or the best campaign in God of War, and it's not even close. Dude, I cannot get enough of Kratos and Atreus. I love this world. I love this universe they've created with the Norse mythology. Almost every single character that's been adapted for this game is absolutely fantastic. The freaking tone and themes this game explores in its story is so captivating and memorable. This game really takes Kratos to a whole nother level in characterization. It makes the character more compelling, more mature, and most importantly of all, more badass than ever before. This game has had such a profound impact on my tastes in gaming. It was the game that got me into Sony exclusives. It was the game that really transformed my tastes in this industry. And most importantly of all, me and my dad had so many good bonding experiences playing through this game together. I don't think I'm ever going to have another gaming experience like God of War ever again. So for all of those reasons, I'm going to put God of War 2018 in Ultimate. Okay, so coming up next, we have God of War Ragnarok. And I'm just gonna say this right now, guys, I really didn't like Ragnarok as much as I wanted to. See, this game is just really weird because there's so many things it gets right. The characterization for all of the gods like Thor, like Heimdall, like Odin are done beautifully. Most of the bosses in this game are exceptional and really push the bar for what I expect in a God of War boss fight. And the gameplay in God of War Ragnarok is fucking great. However, for every single thing this game gets right, for every single exceptional milestone Ragnarok pulls off, there's always something in the distance that just immediately kills all hype and momentum. For example, the pacing in this game is just really weird. Some levels in this game are great and carry the energy of 2018 perfectly. However, for every great level we get with Kratos, we unfortunately have to play as Atreus. And I just don't enjoy playing as Atreus, like, at all. Atreus in this game is obnoxious, he's whiny, and he's just not that much fun to play as. I really didn't like Atreus's levels in this game, and Ironwood was fucking terrible. And I have to be honest with all of you, I just thought the Ragnarok set piece in general was really disappointing. I expected so much from this set piece. I thought it was genuinely gonna be one of the greatest, most awe-inspiring moments in God of War history. However, in my personal experience, I just felt that it was a giant letdown. So, for all of those reasons, I'm going to put God of War Ragnarok in disappointing. Now, finishing off this list, we have God of War Valhalla. And I'm just gonna say this right now, I went into Valhalla with zero expectations. However, I will be completely humble in saying that this DLC blew me the fuck away. Because God of War Valhalla might just be one of the greatest DLCs I've ever played, and what makes this so good is the fact that it's completely free. I didn't have to spend a single fucking penny on this DLC, and I have to give Sony Santa Monica credit for that. Kratos in this DLC gets so many good moments. He's really challenged in this DLC in a way that makes him extremely vulnerable and finally gives him the opportunity to fully mature. I freaking love the roguelike mechanics here. I love the fact that we got to go back to Greece and fight all of the old enemies with our new weapons. I've probably done close to 50 runs on God of War Valhalla. And you know what? I don't have any intention in stopping anytime soon. This DLC is addictive, it's satisfying, it easily has one of the greatest moments in God of War history. If you for some reason haven't played God of War Valhalla, if you haven't touched this masterpiece, stop watching the video and go fucking play it. It's easily one of the greatest DLCs I've ever played, and for all of those reasons, I'm going to put God of War Valhalla in Ultimate.